Good evening and welcome to another episode of Confidence Culture Conversations. And I'm your host, Elizabeth Olujimi, alongside.
Uh, And I am also the host alongside Elizabeth Kirubai Kahoot at your service.
Awesome, awesome. And today we decided to go live on LinkedIn as well. So if you're joining us on LinkedIn, welcome. This is episode, I think it's 33 or 34.
33.
33. Wow, episode 33 of Confidence Culture Conversations. Honestly, it's been an amazing experience. So before we get into our conversation today, should we give a backstory? How did Confidence Culture start? Let's just give a recap because I met Kirubai literally a year ago. Like
That's right.
we met on Facebook before, but we met physically a year ago.
And we have to celebrate that, no?
Hey, why not? So we met at the Kingdompreneurs Summit, which happened on 11th of June, 2022. And we are in preparation mode for Kingdompreneurs Summit 2023, which is going to be amazing. I'll share the flyer now. There you go. That's the flyer. It's this Saturday. It's this Saturday. If you haven't gotten your ticket yet, I don't know what you are waiting for. Grab your ticket. Grab your ticket. It's going to be an amazing day, a day of learning, a day of networking, connecting, making new friends and just soaking in so much more information. But I think it's also going to be practical.
Hmm.
It's not just kind of sitting there and taking notes. It's more than that. It's the actual activity that you need to do. So when we talk about networking, it's you don't just sit and wait for people to come and talk to you. You're going to have to get up and go and make conversation with people, exchange Instagram handles, change Facebook handles, YouTube handles, whatever it is, TikTok handles, whatever it is. So it's going to be a great time. If you are joining us today for the first time on here, welcome, welcome. Please let us know where you're watching from, share, like. It's going to be a great conversation. So, Kirubai, do you want to say anything before we go into the conversation of today?
Well, I believe our confidence culture conversations have touched many lives.
Mm,
Something that we thought might we might take it through for 3 months has gone through now for 1 year now. And we believe we are touching lives and empowering men and women because we also have men come online and hear us live. So, confidence is something that is so important for men or women.
mm-hmm.
And at some point, some women might lose their confidence, or some men might lose their confidence, but confidence is the glue that brings all the other attributes, put it together, and it's like a cake. Confidence is the cake, and then all the other ingredients have to be put together to make the cake tasty and make the cake flavorsome and lovely to eat. So, confidence is the cake that we all need at some point in life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we started this. A simple word like confidence, when you break it down, there's so many facets to confidence. So, if we have gone through 33 episodes, in each episode, we speak about something different about confidence. So, there is a lot of treasure in that word confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So, today we're going to talk about attitude. So, Elizabeth, you are you call yourself a thriving coach, and
Yeah, I do.
you poke and prod people.
The one and only thriving coach, I must say.
So you poke and prod, and I think part of the poking and prodding is you also help people to have a positive attitude.
Yes.
So today, what are some of the positive attitudes you think will help confidence?
Oh wow, that's an interesting question. There's some people that are naturally positive people, and I like to think I'm one of them.
I agree. I
Like to think
agree.
I'm one of them, but sometimes it can be hard for some people to be positive. But what I like to say is that when it comes to attitude is something that we choose. It's something that we choose. Your attitude should never be dependent on what is going on around you. Your attitude should not be dependent on the circumstance or the situations that you are going through.
Mhm.
Because if your attitude is dependent on everything that's happening around you, then you're going to be here, there, and everywhere, up and down. So rather, you should basically every day choose your attitude. So if you want to have a great day, then what are the ingredients that you need in a great day? How do you need to start your great day? What's the routine that gets you happy? What are your happy pills, so to speak?
Ah, that's a good one.
What are the things
Happy
that you
pills.
need to do? So if you're a person of faith, which I am, so starting your day from the place of prayer, just meditating on scripture, just fellowshipping with the Holy Spirit, that can set your day on the right tone. Another thing that you could do is, if another thing that you could do is gratitude. You can start your day from a place of gratitude, from a place of being thankful. As you start your day, don't wait for things to happen, but thank in advance, right? So you can even do the gratitude in advance. I'm grateful that today is going to be an amazing day. What are you doing? You're sending it out. You're sending it out. You're sending the message out with your own lips. You're declaring and you're speaking into what you want your day to look like. So you can start from that place of gratitude. Smile doesn't hurt. So smile your way through. So one of my mentors, Action Jackson, says there's some power things that you need to do, and one of them is do a power pose. So in the morning before you leave your house, do a power pose. As you start your day, what's your power pose? Whether it's the Usain Bolt, whether it's I'm a superhero kind of pose. What is your power pose? Do it, because it's sending signals to your brain, to your subconscious, and it's getting you set for the day. Now, this might seem like little things, but actually they make a difference. Give it a try. The other thing that you could do to help you with your attitude as you start your day is, what is your happy song? What is the song that gets you moving, the song that gets you dancing? Put it on, play it, and start your day that way. Lately, my daughter has been, and this is my fault, but it's a good thing. She's been asking me, "Mommy, can we play some reggae?"
Mm.
Gospel reggae. That's what we listen to. So because I at some point, I think maybe last year, I started sort of going back to my gospel reggae that I really enjoyed back in the day. um Hi, Mark, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining us. So yes, I kind of went back to my gospel reggae kind of roots, and I played some for her. And she really enjoyed it. So she'll ask me at some point. She's like, "Mom, can we play some gospel reggae?" And when I play it, what happens? She starts dancing. So before we go out, we're dancing. We're choosing our attitude as we go out for the day. So your attitude should not be dependent on, I woke up on the wrong side of bed today. I'm going to keep quiet now. Over to you, Jeremiah.
Well, for me, I think when you have a positive attitude, you become more resilient.
Yes, you do.
And with the climate in our nation, when inflation is so high and there's so much of chaos, and the incident today in Birmingham.
Nottingham?
Oh, sorry, Nottingham. Yeah, Nottingham. And these very stressful news that we hear every day and we read on the newspapers, and it is it might cause us to feel very low in our whole being. And if we feel low, then we it's difficult to live, because every day there is bad news, there is good news, there's mixed news. So how are we going to have a positive attitude for us first, then we can emanate that positive attitude to someone else?
Absolutely.
And then, and being resilient, bouncing back. Yes, we might feel sad if something bad happens to us or our family members. there's always always a solution to it, and that finding that solution in a very low point, it's difficult. You have to
Mm,
pick up yourself and say, I have a solution, and I can be resilient even in the circumstances and situation. So let it be an opportunity for us to discover how resilient we are,
that's it.
and that gives us a positive attitude.
Do you know what? I like that because sometimes we don't necessarily see how these little things affect our resilience. And
Mhm.
resilience is so, so, so important because we all need resilience. We all go through things that will shake us, things
Mhm.
that will bring us down, things that will knock us, things that will literally crush us. But we have to have that ability to bounce back. And so, yes, our attitude has a major effect on the
Mm.
rate at which we bounce back.
Yes, our mental capacity to think, because what we think here, it kind of transport those uh, signals to our whole body. And
There you
you
go.
know, and one of the things is, when you have a positive attitude, let's say if you've gone for a surgery, or there's some form of sickness that you're enduring, and if you have a positive attitude, you actually heal faster, because your brain is telling your body, come on, listen to me, click
Mm.
into that positiveness, and you will be healed, because it all starts with your mindset.
And when we look at that relationship between, yes, attitude and confidence,
Mm.
um, just one way to look at it. Hi, Michelle. Thanks for joining. One way to look at it is literally that when we have the positive attitude, when we have the right attitude, it definitely helps us to be more confident because you're less critical and judgmental on yourself
Mhm.
and on situations. You're less negative about situations, so you go into it like, for example, if you have a job interview, if your attitude is in the right place, you will come across as more confident, as opposed to if you have the wrong attitude, you start criticizing yourself, and then you'll even say to yourself, like, I can't do this, I don't think I'm good enough for this job. But yet you have what it takes, but because of your attitude, you don't progress the way you need to.
Mhm.
So it's so important for us to be able to actually just make that decision every day. When you start your day, just make the decision on being positive and having the right attitude. I remember one time when I was working in a call center. So for those that don't know, you know, I don't want to say in my earlier life, but in my earlier days, I worked in a call center. And my call center experience is very interesting because I dealt with various different kind of calls. And I think I started my first call center job was when I was about 16, 17.
Ooh.
And I was taking calls at some point on the NHS Stop Smoking helpline. I was taking calls on Talk to Frank, which is the line where you talk about drugs. I was taking calls on the sexual health information line. Honestly, I didn't even know all these things, but I was trained for the job, so I was doing the job I was trained to do. I was taking loads of calls, but one of the things that I realized was when you're working in a call center, it's easy, very easy to have the wrong attitude,
Mm.
especially when you get the ranting complainers on the phone.
Oh.
It's easy to have the wrong attitude. And for some of the campaigns I was working on, you had some repeat callers. You had some people who just call just to chat because they have no one else to talk to. And if
Loneliness.
you have the wrong attitude, it's easy for you to say, get off the call. Like, it's easy for you to just shut the person up. But you don't know what the person is going through. So sometimes instead of people calling Samaritans, they would call, there's different lines, because they just want to have a conversation with someone, or they're going through something and they just want someone on the other end to hear them out. So it's important to have the right attitude. And when you have the right attitude, you position yourself. So even in a company, you position yourself for a promotion. You position yourself, to be put forward for something better. When you have the right attitude, if you're a complainer, every time they say, let's try this, every time change is implemented, if you start complaining, who's going to want to like progress you?
Mm-hmm. So
You bring down the atmosphere everywhere.
Yeah, you carry the negativity into your office, and people wouldn't want to be around you because you're a complainer, as Elizabeth has said. And having a can-do attitude is very, very important. With a can-do attitude, you would progress and not digress. And every challenge that you take, if you say, I can conquer this, and you will definitely be a winner and a warrior.
Absolutely.
You won't be a loser.
Mm,
So having the right attitude also, it keeps in check how you develop yourself. It is a progression. It's a progression. You don't get up one day and say, oh, I'm already there. It is a progression. It's a work in progress. So it has to be intentional. Has to be
that word
intentional.
comes again.
Again and again. It has to be mindfully intentional to
Mm,
have the right attitude. Because especially, when we see people driving cars and somebody just crosses and upsets you on the road, the words that come out the mouth, all the cursed words come out, and you can even hear sometimes, you're in your friend's car, or sometimes, you're even sometimes I'm in my spouse's car, and he will get very upset. You say, that plonker. I say, you know what, he doesn't hear you, it's me who's hearing. So I said, keep calm, keep cool, let's the stress go away, let's enjoy the drive. But you know what, inevitably people will be crossing you on
mm.
the road. But it is how is our heart attitude towards the driver, and 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 protecting the people, the person who's sitting beside the driver, because you can hear all the ranting and the raving. But you know what, having the right attitude and having the right presence of mind
Mm.
to not to vomit out all the negativity, but be calm and be collective. And that has to be intentional, because if something upsets, we can also go on the other tangent. True?
Very, very true. Very true. And I think when we have the right attitude, like people, it makes for happier relationships.
Mm-hmm.
It makes for better relationships. Because think about it. Look at the people around you. Do you want to be around a complainer? Do you
Mm.
want to be around someone who's always like negative, or always saying, oh, I don't want to try that, I don't want to do this? No, you want to be around people who, have a spring in their step, people who are, they're not always looking at the thing that's going wrong. Because sometimes when our attitude is dependent on the things going on around us, we can be very mean people to be around.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said, choose your attitude. Don't let your attitude be determined by what's going on around you. Like, you don't have to wear your problems on your forehead, literally. Because there's some people that will walk around like the world is ending, like they are in the worst situation ever. Now, I get it. You might be going through a downtime in your life,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't have to walk around showing the whole world that you're going through a downtime. Find people that you can confide in. Now, that doesn't mean that you pretend and have a fake, posture, but you just choose your attitude. You just choose your attitude. And if, for example, you're stuck in a job you don't like, I think that is a really perfect example to use. If you're stuck in a job you don't like, what is your attitude like? Because it's easy to have a negative attitude. Earlier when I was talking about this call center thing, and I remember when I started getting to that place where I was like, I know that there is more. I know that I don't need to be doing this call center job. I'm just doing it for a time. And I remember one of the things that really helped me fix my attitude. So those that are watching, if you don't know, I'm a person of faith, right? So in the Bible, there's a verse in the Bible that talks about not complaining, right? And doing everything like you're doing unto Christ. And I remember that scripture convicted me. I said, yes, you might be doing a job that you don't like, but this Bible verse is not dependent on what you are going through. It's not dependent on the situation or the happenings. It just says you need to do everything like you were doing unto Christ. So you need to not complain. I'm not saying that there are not things that we can't complain about, but what I'm saying is not to have a complainer attitude. The kind that when you walk into a room that people will be like, oh no, she's here again. Like you go to a restaurant, they're like, oh no, it's her again. It's that customer, and they roll their eyes like, you're here again. What do you want this time? Not that sort of attitude, but it's one of those things that you have to choose to have the right attitude, and don't always like complain or bring people down, because having the wrong attitude will make you focus on the wrong things. It will make you focus on the things that are not right. It's like you go to a restaurant, they serve you something, and the first thing you do, instead of even saying thank you, the first thing you do is you complain. The first thing you do is you pick the negative thing in there. Now, choosing the right attitude, and Kiruba, you talked about intentionality, and that's what we have to do. We have to be intentional with our attitude. We have to be intentional in choosing our attitude, because if we are not, then that's when the things around us will determine our attitude.
But there are sometimes, Elizabeth, yes, when you have the right attitude, you also have lots of new friendships. People love to congregate around you, and they like the vibes that you give. That's good. But I'm thinking of this when you have the right attitude. If something, talking about a complainer, and sometimes you just need to stand for some rights.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes.
Yes.
That's the thing. It's about how you do it. It's about how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you an example, right? So every time I go back to Uganda, I have something to complain about. Because the customer service is so different.
Oh.
The customer service is so different that it's easy to get frustrated with things around you. Like from the minute I arrive at the airport, my antennas are on. And I think that's because I'm customer service wired. So I'm looking out. I'll pick things up. But from the minute you arrive at the airport, there's one thing or the other. And I remember at one time I was asking myself, like, why does it irritate you? And I remembered something that Mike Maddox said about the things that irritate you the most are the things that you're created to solve. And so if you approach it from that attitude, that, okay, how can I bring change to this, what seems like a negative situation? How can I repair what's going on? Because it's easy to lose it. It's easy to flip at somebody. And as Christians, I think there's something that we need to be conscious of, particularly with attitude. And it's kind of like at one point in the Bible, we see Jesus getting into the temple and, throwing tables around and having a go at people. And we also see the loving Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So it's choosing how you do these things, but making sure that your attitude is also helping people to learn, because our attitude rubs off on others. Your attitude can affect the atmosphere in a room.
Mm.
So what atmosphere do you want to bring into a room? What aura do you want to bring into a room? Because when you choose your attitude, that's going to determine what you are bringing.
Mhm. So true.
That's going to determine what you're bringing.
So true. And having an attitude to embrace change. Sometimes, we might, all of us carry some stinking attitudes. Nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect. We all are work in progress. So we need to stop, reflect, and work on those attitudes that's negative attitudes that we are struggling.
Mm.
And that's the inner conflicts that we have. And it has to come forth. We know that you will inevitably know, whoever it is, inevitably you will know that you need to change and have the right attitude. So you have to dig deep, check those inner conflicts, and work with those inner conflicts.
Mm.
And as Elizabeth has said, that I can be very impatient when I go back to my country, and some of the things that I see, it's appalling. But you know what? We can just shoot our mouth and upset the other person, or just walk away, say some negative things, hurtful things, and walk away, which I can do. But I have to
Mm.
bite my tongue. I have to consciously bite my tongue, because you know what? I, I have to watch my attitude, because people will always see you. People see, oh, look at the way she has behaved. It's
Do you
not that
know,
we want it's not that we want to live for someone else, but our inner peace. Our
just
inner peace.
to, sorry to cut you short, Kirubai, but just to illustrate the point that you're making now, I remember listening to a story by Joyce Meyer.
Mm-hmm.
And Joyce Meyer said one time her and her husband went to a restaurant, and this young lady was serving them. And what did she do? She came and she spilled. I think whether it was water or it was the meal, but she spilled it.
Oh.
Now, imagine you're hungry, you are waiting for your food, and this waitress cannot do her job properly, comes and spills, your drink or your meal. How would you feel? What would your number one
Reaction.
reaction be?
Reaction, yeah.
Now, in that moment, Joyce Meyer was going to get angry, but she said, "Not today." She said, "Not today." And what did she choose to do? She chose to be calm.
Mm-hmm.
They helped the lady to sort of calm down. Like, she was like, "Oh my God, I'm really sorry." Da, da, da. And they were like, "No, it's okay. Don't worry. We'll help you clean it up." And they were all nice. And this girl she was breaking. She was freaking out. She was like, she thought she was even going to get fired. And they asked her what happened. And she said, "I watched Joyce Meyer on TV."
Ooh.
So when she came into the restaurant, I was like, oh, I was shaking, like, I'm serving her. This is someone I
Mhm.
watch on TV. So it's such an honor and a privilege to serve her. And so I tripped and I spilled the stuff. Now imagine
Yes.
if Joyce Meyer had reacted a different way.
Your testimony is gone.
Imagine if her attitude
Yeah.
was different. So especially if we're people who preach a message of of joy, of love, of peace, of all these things, we have to live it out.
Yes.
We have to show it. I remember one day, and this is probably going back on this complaining bit, but also attitude. I remember one day myself and my husband almost fought some Christians, right? We almost fought some Christians, and let me explain. We went to an area in London that has a lot of there's a lot of African churches, or should I say Nigerian churches. And my husband's watching, so Tunji, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we got to this tight street, and parking is really tight. Hi, Bernice, good to see you! Yay! One of our speakers for the Kingdompreneurs Summit. Looking forward and
Hello.
excited to meeting you. Yes. So we got to this really tight street and we were looking for parking. We managed to find some parking, and it was a case that people struggle to find parking on that street. But it's not necessarily residents parking there, it's people who are coming to attend church services. And so when we parked, we saw this gentleman who was getting really frustrated. He was Caucasian. He was getting really frustrated. I think he was Eastern European. He was getting really frustrated. Why? Because his garage was blocked by a car that had parked. So the car had parked, so he couldn't get out. And he had to go to work. It's Sunday. It's probably double pay. His equipment was in his car, so he needed to drive out of his driveway to go to his job for that day. And it wasn't down the road. It was a good half hour to 1 hour drive away. But this car had parked there, blocking his way. Now, we all know, don't block someone's driveway. It's frustrating. It's
so
annoying. It's irritating.
Yes.
So me and my husband, Tunji, and Janaya in hand, she was a baby at the time, so we're just carrying her. And we were trying to see how we could help, because we just knew that it had to be someone who was in church. So we tried to talk to the gentleman, tried to see if there's anything that we could do. Obviously, there's nothing we could do. But this gentleman and his friends were getting aggravated. And they said if we were mean people, we would basically open the bonnet and pour something in the bonnet so that car would be damaged. Or we would do something with the wheels, like we would do some damage to the car. They were on the verge of doing that. But they were like, let's wait for this person. This guy had waited for over an hour.
Oh, wow.
And there's a couple of churches around, so he didn't know which one it could be. So anyway, we stood there trying to have a conversation with them. We're like, should we call the police? We tried to call the police. The police are like, it's not an emergency, so we can't come out. So I was like, that's a bit annoying. So eventually, somebody comes strolling, coming from church. I think it was Thanksgiving Sunday. She had been praising the Lord. And we looked at her. As she approached the car, we said, excuse me, you blocked this gentleman's driveway. You're not supposed to do that. And she started having a go at us. She started shouting at us. She wanted to fight us, literally, to the point that Tunji had to step in and say, don't point your finger at my wife. Because she was getting really, and we were like, you just came from church. You were probably sat on front row raising your hands and praising the Lord, but this is how you're behaving. Exactly. Now, this gentleman has lost out on income because you blocked him, and you don't have you don't have it in you to even apologize, because she didn't.
The decency to do that, yeah.
And then she even had the nerve to tell us, you're black, you should be supporting me. Oh, we said, no, you did something wrong. We can't support you for that. And that's how she then got into the car and she drove off. And I was like, that is the testimony.
Gone.
That's
Flushed
it.
down the toilet.
That's it.
Oh, what a shame.
So it's so important for us to really choose our attitude, regardless of what is going on around us. And your attitude is a reflection of what is in your heart. It's a reflection of what is in your heart. And if there's toxicity in your heart that you have not dealt with, you're going to carry around a negative attitude.
In the fullness of your heart, the abundance of your heart, your mouth speaks. So whatever that's negative, it's spewing out, and it's vomiting on other people, bleeding into other people's lives. And
honestly, that day I was just like, wow, honestly. And we will go and we will say we're this, we're that, but in reality, when push comes to shove, what are we doing? And like I said before, there is a place for complaining. It's about how you do it. Because a complaint is feedback for the other party. It's feedback for the other party. But it's about your delivery. It's about how you deliver it. And what's the notion behind the delivery? What's the notion behind, throwing your toys out of the pram kind of thing? I've complained before. I do it, especially when I see bad customer service. I will complain.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean that I'm not, having a positive attitude. It means I'm addressing something that needs to change, because it needs to change.
So what you're saying is we need to communicate it in a very amicable manner,
Hmm.
being firm but yet amicable,
That's it.
and don't let the anger come in between.
There
So,
you go.
mm,
But yes, it affects our confidence. It affects our confidence, because this is the foundation of where this conversation was coming from, isn't it? Is how does our attitude affect our confidence? If
mhm.
you have the right attitude, it's going to help you to be more confident. Be more confident when you present yourself to the world. Be
Yeah.
more confident when you're doing things, or when you're doing activities. Be more confident when you are in relationships or
Mhm.
relating with people. It will help you.
And of late, I've been seeing a lot of things in this area of attitude is owning up to mistakes.
Mm,
And this is a very serious problem. I personally feel if you do not know how to do something, it's all right to say I don't know, but if you can't deliver, it is all right to say I can't. But being able to say no, I'm not able to, is also having the right attitude for the other person to understand where where you are in that situation, because it's
mm.
not wrong for you to say I do not know. And owning up to what you do not know, it actually shows that your vulnerability, but and you can say that I'm willing to learn, or work on these things, or help you in some other way, because this is what I see. Or I can do everything, and then when it's time to deliver, they can't do it.
Mm,
I can't do everything. I'm not good at everything. Elizabeth is not good at everything, but being able to know what path is set before us, that we do it, having the right attitude and saying no. It's like asking me to drive a plane. I don't know. I don't even have a license in this country, which upsets my husband. But you know what? I will say I don't know. So sometimes you have to say no to have the right frame of mind, the right attitude to confidently say, no, I do not know how to do.
mm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And literally, just it's probably time for us to round up. But I think, what you just mentioned about the attitude towards learning,
Hmm.
because learning takes us out of our comfort zone as well,
Hmm.
and it enables us to grow. If you have a positive attitude towards learning, you will grow. And as you're growing, you're experiencing new things. As you're growing, you're getting into new rooms. As you're growing, you're advancing in different areas of your life. So having that attitude. And I think our attitude sometimes varies depending on different things. So attitude to change, attitude to work, attitude to people around you, attitude even to let's say the environment. Because like being in the UK, people like starting conversations on weather, right? And we like to talk about weather. You can never go wrong with the topic of weather when you are here in the UK. Now, you will notice that on a rainy day, people's attitudes are a bit.
Dull.
And on
Dampen.
a sunny day, everyone's happy. They're all in the park. They're enjoying themselves. It's good times. It's happy days.
Weather affects your mood, babe.
So
But
don't be one of those people that when the weather is good, you're high. When the weather is low, you're down. So just because it's like it's freezing outside doesn't mean you walk around like, no. Still have your joyous attitude, still have your positive attitude, regardless of what's happening outside. And like I said, it's an inside job.
yeah,
It's an inside job. Your attitude is reflecting what's on the
well
inside.
said.
So when you deal with the things on the inside, it will help you to reflect well on the outside.
I'm going to pinch that, the inside job for my personal transformation inside and out. I'm going to
It
pinch it.
is.
It's
It
an
is.
inside job. It's a hidden job inside, but and then you project it. Everyone sees it.
There you go. There you go. So yeah, it's one of those things, but it's important for every area of our lives, not just even for the confidence, topic, but attitude is so important in relationships. It's important, having the right attitude towards things, towards people. It's so key. It's so key, and it's honestly going to help you to be more confident. Like, if it doesn't, come back to me. I'll give you your money back.
You get a refund.
You get a refund. You get a
Oh,
refund. But it's guaranteed to help you. And you know what? It draws people to you. It
yeah.
draws people to you. Someone gave me a comment the other day. She said, I don't know you, but I saw your picture and I just knew you were a happy person. I just knew you were fun to be around. You were full of joy. And I was like, oh, thank you. That's just from seeing my picture. And when I spoke to her, she was like, oh, I was right. So this is not me bragging, but it's me saying that, like, this attitude thing is something that you can choose. It doesn't mean that I don't have problems. It doesn't mean I don't have issues. I do. But I'm not going to wear like a label on my head that says I got problems. I'm going through the worst situation in life. Don't come near me. No. Everyone's got something they're carrying.
Yeah, everyone.
Everyone has.
But you know what? Right attitudes make great pathways to be resilient, and that's going to be my last word for the evening. And I'm going to leave it to Elizabeth. Elizabeth, you did a fine job giving us so many examples and full of stories. And I know with all the busyness, you're all there to support and bring forth confidence culture conversations today. So, Elizabeth, before we round up, I'd like to show the Kingdompreneur flyer once again that, people will be
My
motivated to come.
absolute pleasure.
Yes. Elizabeth and I will be there, and you will meet Pastor Tunji and this amazing um, speakers, and you will be able to speak to them individually and also meet a room full of entrepreneurs who are going to be rah rah and being so happy and cheerful. And there's going to be a lot of activities. I am looking forward to being there. Really looking forward to being there. So I want to see you there, and I want to say hello to you.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing some amazing people in the room, and also learning. We talked about this attitude thing.
Mhm.
Learning, having an attitude to come and sit down and learn from people who are experts in their field.
Yeah.
People who've done it, who've been there, done that, and they're doing well. We want to learn from them. So join us. Join us this Saturday. If you haven't yet gotten your ticket, get your ticket now. Literally, as you get off this live, get your ticket. And don't come on your own. Bring a friend. If you come as a group of 5, you get a discount. And if you want to have an extra special experience, you can get a VIP ticket. There is a VIP ticket, and VIP ticket means you get some one-on-one time with some of the speakers. So if you want to, have the VIP experience, then go ahead, book that. But let's come and learn from each other. And honestly, the attitude in that room is going to be electrifying. I can't wait. But that's it for me. I can talk all day. So we are going to end this now. But thank you so much all for joining us this evening. If you have missed previous episodes of Confidence Culture Conversations and you would like to catch up, you can either go on my YouTube or Kirubai's YouTube, and you will be able to find us. If you haven't connected with us on social media, please do connect with us. Like this, share it, and if you would like to find out more about how we can help you in terms of the coaching services that we provide, reach out to us. Reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to help you. Right. God bless you all. Have a nice evening or morning, wherever you're watching from. All right. Bye for now.
Bye.